In this episode of Teach Me Something, Krista Mashore teaches Long about the phases of the client acquisition process.
What you do prior to actually moving a customer from cold to warm to hot.
While Dan Wood teaches how to learn all about a book without actually reading it.
I heard that you don't like reading books. This is a hack that I use. I go to...
Welcome to Teach Me Something, where our experts have 2 minutes to teach something new. I'm your host, Zagorsky. Meet Doan. Long knows a lot about everything, but specifically real estate and leadership. Long has sold thousands of houses, but there's one thing you should know about him. Every day, he is committed to learning something new. And if he doesn't learn something new, he has to read a book for at least 20 minutes. Long loves to learn, but he hates reading books. Well, that's not totally true, but you get the idea. And Long has a short attention span, because his brain is always thinking, which is why our contestants only have 2 minutes. Let's see if Long can learn something new on Teach Me Something. Our first guest is Krista Mashore. Not only does she sell 100 homes a year, actually over 100 homes a year, she's a coach and a trainer who teaches agents social media, video marketing, funnels, so much good stuff. Let's see if she can teach Doan something.
So Krista, as always, you have 2 minutes to teach Long something, and then he'll have another 2 minutes to ask you questions, go a little deeper. Do you know what you're going to teach Long? Are you ready to go?
Yep, ready to go.
All right, are you ready? You can share your screen. Do you have any visual aids, or are you just rolling for it?
I'm just going to go for it.
All right, let's do it. So here's your 2 minutes starting now.
Okay, so client customer acquisition phases. So what you do prior to actually moving a customer from cold to warm to hot, right? It's called the pre-frame. It's very, very important to change what it is that you're doing depending on who the group that you're going after. So there was a study that was done from MIT, and basically what they did was they took students that had a college professor, and they gave each of these students two bios. The bios were exactly the same. The only difference with the bio is that in one of the bios, it said that he was a rather warm person. The other bio said that he was a rather cold person. And what happened was the people that got the rather cold person said that he was pompous and arrogant, and they didn't like him, gave him horrible, horrible reviews. The group that said that got the bio that said he was a rather warm person, they said he was loving, he was a great speaker, he was funny, he was charming, blah, blah, blah. So the idea is that what you give a customer or client prior to moving them up makes a really big difference as far as their conversion. So meaning we want to make sure that we don't give the same information prior to working with somebody. A cold customer should get different information than a warm customer. A warm customer should get different information than a hot customer. And we have to also understand that what a cold, warm, and hot customer is. A cold customer is somebody who has a problem, who doesn't even know they have a problem. So for example, that might look like somebody that is an FHA buyer or a veteran, and they have not a lot of money in the bank at all. They don't have the best credit score, but they have a really, really good income. They don't know that they can actually purchase a home. So that's taking someone from cold, letting them know they have a problem and there's a solution. Then now they're warm, right? Warm being, hey, now they know that they could actually purchase a home. Now I'm going to educate them like crazy, get them to understand more about it, and then taking them to hot, which means they understand that you're the best solution to the problem. So reminding yourself and remembering that MIT study in the fact that what you give somebody prior to moving them up the customer acquisition phase, right? The pre-frame is super, super important in getting your customers to convert. How much time is that?
I was spot on at 2 minutes. Without seeing the clock, that was amazing, Krista. All right, so Long, questions for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what you're saying, and I learned something new. I didn't know that, so that's awesome. So I need 3 different bios then for myself based on where they are in my customer's acquisition. If they're cold, this should be a different bio. And if they're warm or they're hot, is that what I'm hearing?
That's just an analogy. So it was just like giving you an example of how that could change. So this is in any type of marketing, when you're doing digital marketing prior to meeting with a seller or a buyer, anytime you're doing any marketing at all, like for example, your Facebook ads. So many people will just do blanket marketing. They'll give everybody the exact same thing. However, like they want your information, give them your information, right? But if you warm them up first and give them different information, depending on where they're at in the sales cycle, is going to completely change how they're going to convert, whether or not they're even going to give you the information that you're requesting. Does that make sense? So in other words, everyone just says, oh, it's a great time to buy a house. But if somebody is cold, they don't even know they have the ability to buy, that messaging is not going to work for them. I need to pre-frame them, warm them up to the idea that they even can actually purchase. So it's just understanding that with any type of marketing, all the different phases of where people are at, you need to change your marketing message and your call to action.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure that there are coaches like yourself out there that can help people like me with that kind of stuff, right?
I think I know one or two, maybe.
All right. So Long, I've got to ask you, right? So did you learn something?
I do not have to read tonight. Yes, I did learn something.
Awesome. Nice job, Krista. I figured
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Dan Wood comes to us from up north in Canada. He is one of the most knowledgeable people we've ever seen in the real estate industry. Teaches on a wide variety of subjects. He's been a coach, he's been an agent, a broker, can handle just about anything. Let's see if Dan can teach Long something. So Dan is coming on here to teach Long something. I have no idea what you're going to teach. I'm very curious because when I told Dan he had 2 minutes to teach Long something, he got excited. Says, I know exactly what I'm teaching. So are you ready to roll? Should we put 2 minutes on?
Yeah, it won't even be 2 minutes.
All right, let's do it. And you're on.
Awesome, cool. Well, I'm doing this with my Bomb Bomb sweater on, so hopefully shameless plug for Bomb Bomb. Thanks for sending me some free swag. And so, Long, I heard that you don't like reading books, or one thing you do love is learning, but you want to do it in a faster, more efficient manner. So if you do have to start reading books, because maybe today I don't teach you something new, or maybe tomorrow's guest doesn't teach you something new and you're going to have to start reading. This is a hack that I use. I go to podcasts, and you can do this on an Android phone as well. Just go to whatever podcast app that you use and type in either the name of the author or the name of a book that you're reading. And then what you'll find and discover is that author went on a tour going around explaining the book. And what they do is they take like an 8-hour audio and they condense it down to the best 45 minutes. It's like a highlight reel of that book. And they'll do like 3 or 4 or 8 or 9 interviews. And those interviews, the knowledge that you gain from it, each one is just a little bit different than the interview before or after, because it's not always a carbon copy, because it's also the power of the interviewer and the questions that they're asking. So it really gives you a behind the scenes view of the book, and it allows you to go deeper much quicker than it would be if you were to just read the book on your own. So to unpack that a little bit, there's Jack Canfield. He's an author that I really look up to, because I don't think anybody physically sold more books than he has. Like the Bible has sold more books than he has. But other than that, a traditional written author, Jack Canfield. And it's part of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. So I wanted to discover, like, how did this guy just hit such a huge crushing home run with launching his book? So I listened to every single interview that I could on podcasts that had the name Jack Canfield in it. And what I discovered just blew me away, and I applied that knowledge of how to launch and sell a book to my real estate business.
Okay, that's awesome. So I think definitely I want to try that. What I have been doing is something similar on the book side, because I don't like to read someone too long. Actually, Jesse turned me on to this a little while back, is Blinkish. So I kind of do that on the Blinkish, on the book side, but I like the podcast, so I can listen and hear that audio versus reading it. So that's good. So
Long, did you learn something?
I'm gonna go to podcast. So half credit for sure. I have something similar, but not podcast. So Dan, I would like to get the actual link of where you think I should go to check this out. Is it just called podcast.com or something?
Yeah, well, on my app, my iPhone, I just would use the podcast app. If you use Spotify, anywhere that you can access podcasts. So yeah, just go to the App Store on your phone, type in the word podcast, and it'll naturally just come right up. And then start searching away. Title of the author's name, and the book itself.
Okay.
Awesome. I love it. And when Dan taught me this, by the way, Long, and we don't even need the full 2 minutes for the second set of questions. This is awesome. When you taught me this, Dan, all I literally just type author name, book name, podcast, Google, and it pops up with the results. This is such a good hack you taught, Dan. I love it.
Right? I know. It is so good.
It's so good.
Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.